Hello and welcome to part 1 of my Championship Lode Runner video walkthrough here on YouTube. If you missed part 0 and want an introduction, a link is below, along with one to my guide on game facts. In this video, I will complete levels 1 through 5. They're relatively simple and focused, as early levels should be, but they definitely have some tricks. In level 1, you can make the opponents harmless quickly, but have to use them to win. In level 2, you can't dig anywhere, so you have to make sure enemies don't split up and surround you. In level 3, you need to navigate ladders almost everywhere, and you only have one square to dig. Level 4 is a very sparse puzzle where you snake to the top, and the enemies really park the bus to prevent this. Level 5 has you manipulate enemies in 2 different ways before jumping through your first false floor, and also digging through a structure to get buried gold. Well, this is a nice little introduction with the gold chests in a big hello. What we're going to do is we're going to dump the 2 enemies in the basin at the very bottom. It's not really possible to dump them onto the gold chests because of how they track you. They look for the level you're at and try to drop on somewhere where they can walk left and right. And also, if you try to make it so that they go left or right, they generally look at where they are. If they're on the left side, they go left. On the right side, they go right. So there's no really good way to drop them down the center. What we're going to do after we get everything on the left here, which should be pretty self-explanatory, I crank the game speed up so that it goes a bit quicker. You may miss a jump or 2 falling down, but it's no big deal. What I generally do is, to save time, I don't worry precisely which one I drop down on. I just want to make sure I'm dropping down on a gold chest. And if I really have to, see I missed one there, I can take a sheet of paper, line it up vertically, and say, okay, here's where I drop for the last 1 or 2. So you see I got the left side and then the right side, and there's little risk here. I missed again, but no. Now, the next part is getting those 2 gold chests that are suspended, and what you'll need to do is you will need to get the robots to run over, and now you want one at least half under the gold chest to the left and to the right. Otherwise, you will fall in, and I think I just missed it there. This one's a bit tricky. I don't think they intended it to be this tricky for level 1, and it's why they might have replaced this on the NES with the demo level that you see. So this is rather neat. You see good on ladders, and you win. Yay. So here we see the level editor map for level 1. There are no false floors, and as we saw, the end of level ladders form the word good. The only detail to nail down is that it really is prohibitively hard or impossible to drop enemies on the gold chests in the center of the pit. You need to go down on the left-hand side pretty much just after they get about midway through the bottom rung of the slope off to the right, so that they fall right away when you get to the bottom. And then you do the same for the right-hand side, and it takes a lot of timing to get right, so it's usually easier just to place the enemies under the chest. You want to make sure that each one is at least halfway under a chest. The eye test usually works, but you may just want to save states just in case. Okay, so on level 2 we have a bunch of musical notes that are all cement blocks, so you cannot dig them. You will have to sucker the enemies over. You can see I let the one on the left come follow me. He can be a big problem because he can trap you with the other 4 guys on the right. If you're not careful, you'll notice that I went up the stairs to chase them away. The robots are terribly smart. Again, they'll look for that horizontal level and try to run at you. And if there isn't one, they just kind of run to the top, and that's what happened here. Now, there is going to be a problem with the bad guys maybe not dropping the chests they should. In this case, it went okay, but if they don't do what they should, you'll need to make them a cycle across a ladder to the top, or make them drop and chase you, and then eventually they will drop their gold chests and you can pick them up. So I've had a bit of good luck here, but you may have to go to the very upper left to get something to drop. Here is the level editor map for level 2. We can see there are no false floors or floors, and also the end of level ladders are pretty insignificant. All we really need to do is find a place where we can kind of juke the enemies out in case they get split on either side. And the place for that is left of the lower right note. You want to drop down to the second highest rope there, and then go to the ladder, and then go up a level once the enemies have kind of bunched themselves to your left, and eventually they will come around, and you can go right and drop. The only other thing that might really be a problem is if the enemies hold gold chests and don't let go of them. In the case of the enemies coming over from the left, you can just drop down and then go all the way left and then go up the ladder a bit. That pushes them right, and then you go all the way up, and they will probably circle around the ladder at the top, and eventually one will let a gold chest go. There are other places they might do this, and also you can let them run all the way from the right to the left across the screen, and then you can go up and right and fake them out, and eventually they'll drop one. So that may take a bit of time, but it's a pretty sure and safe way to get them to drop a gold chest, and that sort of thing will work on later levels too. Again, the main point is to go to the top of a ladder where they will see you across the horizon, and they'll keep going in a little circle until they drop a gold at the top of a ladder, which they can't take back. And also you can kind of sucker them way across to the left and then go up, have them follow you up the ladder, and then go right and drop down. That would be if a gold chest were left. Okay, you just have to run by the other guys here, wait for them to lean right on the ladder, and then go up and past them. And now the third guy is not so hard because you can lure him further up. You have more up and down space. The other gold chests you should get pretty easily. You have enough time. You can really outrun these guys. And now there are two tricks. First of all, to get by this last guy playing defense and to get his gold chest, and then to get back to the right. So when he is over the second left zero, you dig, and that should kill him. And then when an enemy is above the ones digit zero, you run back left and you dig. And here we go a third time. I'm actually going to miss this. You can see I dug a few digits too late, which would be a problem, but you can sneak past one guy if you have to, as I did there. Now, at the end, I was worried, oh, the guys in the pit are going to run after me, but actually I can just go up the ladders to the left. So here is the level editor map for level 3. Again, there aren't any really big surprises. We just want to note the end of level ladders up on the right don't really make a difference. And the developers were nice to us because they did not allow for having any real space at the top where enemies might reappear if we dug a hole for them. So that is a relief. They just all go into the upper right. And also they were kind of enough to make it so that once we retraced our steps to the start, we could just win the level immediately, as opposed to if, say, this level were only 14 ladders high. There are no false floors. There don't need to be. It might actually make things worse if there were, because, yes, we could have a shortcut, but so could the enemies. You may notice this is a redo with the men and the score, so I'll sort out details in the recap. First, we go up here, we wait for the two guys to come over to the left, and then we dig to the right, and we have them come over left, and that traps them in any gold they may have. Now we go down, we dig right, and now we dig two left of the stair, and then we fall over. If we dig one left, there's a risk that the guy may run into the pit and get killed. We want to save him where he's going to have no chance of blocking us. Now this part is a bit tricky. We can brute force things, just continually dig the guys into the holes and so forth, or whether they run vertically or fall. And once we're sure that nobody has a gold chest, we can drop down. There are ways to move them back, but this time we got good luck. I'll explain more in a bit with the level map, but here we wait for the guy to drop down and we go up the stairs. I redid this level after my main playthrough because I stumbled through my first try without really understanding the strategy. Then right after my new one, I realized I could have done even better. That way might be less helpful if you don't move just right, so I kept what I had and will note it here. You get the gold chests on the bottom row as in the playthrough, then lure the second row enemies left, then dig the right side, wait, and dig twice with the enemies close. Then run over them to the right. You may have to wait for the pit to fill, but with decent timing you will fall right, and the enemies will go left and down. That leaves one enemy to block you on the next level, which is no problem. However, with the walkthrough as is, I'll note the main points. Try to dig to left of the right ladder at the very bottom, so the enemy doesn't walk into the pit from the side. Also, note the second top is the main obstacle to winning, but you have several ways to fake enemies out. If you are on the right one high ladder, you can go up and dig left to get an enemy on the 2 ladder in the hole. Or you can go down one on the right edge ladder to chase everyone left if you aren't sure if they have gold. Otherwise, go all the way down to drop them down. You may need to dig a few regenerating enemies before you're sure none have gold, but it shouldn't take too long. Finally, there are 2 ways to get the upper right gold at the end. You can just dig right from the center square if the enemy has it, but if they don't, dig right from the left square on top of the ladder, then fall right. The enemies will bunch up to the left when the end of level ladders appear, and going up then down will make them drop onto the top right cement. Take the rope back left over them. Okay, level 5 needs a little persistence here. We go to the bottom left, and now we are going to dig 9 squares to the right. We need to go at slow speed. I found that at high speed, the squares tend to regenerate quicker in relation to how fast you move than if you go at slow speed. I've actually slipped up on slow speed and gotten one guy to come out. Now we're going to start at the bottom level, and this will allow the enemy to go across his friends. You don't have to, but it does save time, and you just sit 2 below one of the passages to the right. The most convenient is the highest one up, but if you can get lower, that's also quite good, especially when you get up to the top and second top, because you will want to get down to bring enemies over from the right once they regenerate. Again, a bit of waiting here, and now we're going to bring the enemy up to the second top. And it's worth waiting here. You can fiddle with the speed to make stuff go quicker, but it will increase the possibility you mess up. And maybe I could have gone down 3 more squares, but if I misjudge it, the guy goes to the left and goes to the right and falls in the hole and regenerates on the right. And we really just want to, when we have a guy in one of those holes in the upper left, we want to keep him there. We want to minimize the mistakes here because there's a bit of mental fatigue and it can cause errors that you know you shouldn't make. At least that was the case for me. So here goes the final one. And one neat thing about this is we can bring the guys on the right over, and this will allow us to run right across to the right after we get this gold chest. But we have to wait for the enemy, of course, to go in the hole. There we go. And now everybody's run over, and now we get the gold chest. There's a minimum dexterity needed. Also push up right here so that you don't fall into the guy. Minimum dexterity to grab the gold on the right and not fall into the pit. And now the rest of this is pretty straightforward. You just dig down the right side. You'll notice the gold on the left. It's going to be tricky, but you can see there's no really good way to dig left of the upper left rope, so you know that has to be a false floor. So we dig 4, then 3, then 2, then 1. I dug 5, but I just missed on the first dig. Now we dig and drop and dig and drop, and we just sort of push the keys alternately. It's worth taking your time to make sure you don't slip up, because that's a lot of work to redo if you do, but it's not too hard. Again, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we dig and drop as before, except this time to the left. And now we go up the stairs, and there we go. Yeah, this is potentially a long one, but I took a few tries to get it shorter. So this is the level editor map for level 5. And the only real issue we might have is, are there any false floors other than the one that we see beneath the gold chest at the end of the long fall? And it sort of has to be there, since we don't have a really good way to dig down 4, 3, 2, 1 or whatever to get there, as the 2 bricks that we'd have to dig that would be above the 1 would themselves be over the rope, so we'd fall in. So we can't complete the left side like we did the right, where we would just either dig from the ladder or dig from the ropes one at a time. And I think I already showed how to use the enemies to get through the left side relatively quickly. We also always want to make sure that they are stuck in the bottom, and we will notice that the developers are being kind to us by putting blocks all across the top, so the enemies always regenerate in the upper right. Sometimes that means it'll take them a while to get back to the pit, which is frustrating if we didn't dig right, but it's the lesser of two evils compared to enemies randomly appearing in the upper left and us having to just dig them until they appear in the upper right, and this would take a while anyway. So that's the first 5 levels. Thanks so much for watching through this video, and if you enjoyed this enough, giving a like or subscribing if you haven't already goes a long way in encouraging me to share more videos of fun games you may want to revisit or didn't realize you missed. See you next video.